Dolores Huerta, founder of the Dolores Huerta Foundation.
Hello, everybody. I loved hearing the previous speakers. I so admire her. And I just want to say that everything that she has done in her life has always been with grace. And as she said, pulling up people behind her. And so I hope that it gives her a really, really big applause. And thank you very much for inviting me to speak with you today. Okay, you know, I want to start off by saying something that's kind of sad in a way, but when we see what's going on with the wars in the Middle East right now, and someone said to me, they have heard me speak often, and they said, you know, Dolores, if women were in charge, that war would not be taking place right now. And I do hope that during your conference that you will take a minute to pray for all of the people there in Israel and in Gaza, and pray for the hostages, that the people that have been taken hostage, many of whom are women, that they will be protected. And I think that really leads me to my favorite topic, which is that we do need women in power, and we do need women in governance. You know, I would hope someday that every single board meeting that is taking place throughout the world, that at least 50% of the people sitting at the table making the decisions are feminists. And I'm going to use the word feminist because we know that not all women are feminists, okay? And that there are some men that are feminists. But it is very important to have our voices heard, because we know that as women, we are very much against hurting people. And a core war is something that does hurt people. And often when decisions are made, they end up hurting people. And we as women, what we want to do is we want to help people. You know, Coretta Scott King is the one that said, we will never have peace in the world until women take power. So please remember that this is so important. You might say that it is a call for all of us women not to be afraid to take power. Sometimes it takes some courage to do that, because we as women, we have been so socialized that we are the ones that are the protectors. You know, we are the ones that support men. We support everybody, and somehow at the end of the day, we don't end up supporting ourselves. So we have to think about, what can I do to make myself stronger, to make other women stronger, and as was said before, to get women in those key positions where decisions are being made. This is so important. The other thing that we have to do as we go through life is think in terms of the decisions that we make, not only for ourselves, but for our community. Because if women can take power, then we do know that we want to make better decisions for everyone. Because right now, as we are here in our country, right now, we see that there are so many bad decisions that are being made. One of the things that we are seeing right now is that we see what's happening in places like Texas, places like Florida, and many of the southern states, where women's reproductive rights are being challenged or really being taken away. We see a situation where women are being criminalized. Women are being criminalized because they want the right, they're fighting for their own reproductive rights and the right to abortion. And in our Latino community, our Hispanic community, this is a big issue. And the haters out there, they're really trying to divide our community. They're trying to divide our community on the issues of abortion, on the issues of LGBTQ rights, okay? So we have to challenge that. And I do want to share with all of you, and I hope you share this with your family and with your friends also, who might be confronted with this issue, to remember the words of Benito Juarez, our Mexican president. Benito Juarez was the first president after Mexico got the independence from Spain. And he had a great saying, el respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz. Respecting other people's rights is peace, okay? So how many women a woman decides to have or not have, that is her business. It's not anybody's business. Not any religious leader, not any political leader should say to a woman how many children she should have or not have. And the same thing applies to the issue of gay rights. Again, if somebody falls in love with, marries, or lives with somebody of their own sex, that is their human right. please pass that along to everyone. The other thing I think as Latina women, in terms of making the world a better place, we always have to remember that we stand up for workers' rights. And I like to ask people, and I don't know anybody in the room that might be able to answer this, how did we get the 8-hour day? A lot of people don't know. Well, it was actually people in Chicago, Illinois. They had a big demonstration for the 8-hour day. This was at the turn of the last century. And so we all got the 8-hour day. We all take advantage of the 8-hour day. And this is all over the world. But the labor leaders that fought for the 8-hour day, they were executed, they were hung. And we don't know that history. So we have a lot of women that are in the workplace and they are workers. And we want to stand up for those women too. We know right now there are many strikes going on right now. We have many of the hotel workers that are on strike right now. We have the auto workers that are on strike. We have actors that are still on strike. And so I just want to remind everybody there that we hold those workers in our hearts, because our democracy in the United States, the foundation of our democracy are women and workers. And so we have to be able to fight in everything that we do to support workers. I also wanted to kind of echo what Esther said when she spoke a little while ago about women aspiring to get better jobs. Okay, many times, there are jobs out there, and somebody says, "Yeah, I wish I could have that position, but I just don't have the education. I don't have the experience, to get that position that I would like to have." I want to say to all the women out there, you know what? Go for it. Because do it like the guys do it, learn on the job, because that's exactly what they do, okay? And sometimes we are hesitant to do that because, we are so socialized that we have to be supportive of others and not think of being supportive of ourselves. And so we have to kind of grind up that courage that we need so we can go for those positions that we know are out there, just waiting for us to fill them, waiting for women's leadership to go in there and fill those jobs. And the other thing I just want to say, everyone, please think about the world around us, what's going on, and we have to stay informed. And I would like all of you to really think in terms of being activists in the work that you do. And when I say that, I mean, that sounds like it's asking a lot of people, because everybody has jobs and we have families, and we think sometimes, well, I just don't have time to be an activist, but we have to. And because we want to make the world a safer place, especially for women. So I would ask all of you to please take a little bit of your time, a few hours every week if you can, to do something for the cause of women. Okay, it's very, very important that we do that. Being an activist is really important. And I want to share some words with you from Cesar Chavez, actually, who said this. Like when you go to school, you read about history, you write about history, you talk about history. But when you become an activist, you make history. And that's what we as women need to do. And we have to join the ranks of all the women that came before us, all of those women that fought for the right to vote that women did not have. And we do have an issue right now that affects all women that is still very alive, and we need everybody to participate in, and that is the Equal Rights Amendment for women, okay? That is right now in the US Congress. We had Virginia was the last state to ratify, the state that we needed to ratify, because they needed 2/3 of the states of the United States to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. And then it has to be passed by the Congress. And then it will be in the Constitution of the United States of America. So I mentioned the issue that women are being criminalized because they have abortions in our southern states, okay? Well, hey, if we have the Equal Rights Amendment in the Constitution, that will not be an issue. So I just want to ask you this. Any political candidates that come before you to speak, or to ask for your endorsement, please say to those political candidates, what is your position on the Equal Rights Amendment for women? Just remind them that we need them to vote to make sure that we as women have equal rights, okay? And we will not let them get away with not not voting and not standing up for women's equal rights. And now a lot of us think, okay, well, I thought we already had equal rights. Well, you know, the United States is one of the few countries in the world that has not put that into the Constitution. Would you believe that? And there are other things that we have to fight for as women. You know, we have to fight for universal health care for everyone. Why do we in the United States not have universal health care? Well, you know, they have it in they have this in other countries. They have also pre-college education. Why do we not have that in the United States? As again, the richest country in the world, and we do not have universal health care. And the other thing we need is daycare, universal daycare also for our women, like they have in other countries. We are the richest country in the world, yet we do not have those basic rights that women need. And so these are things that we have to put on our agenda. And we might say we have a long-term agenda, we have a short-term agenda, but the long-term agenda is we have to fight for equal rights, okay? And equal rights, ERA number one, we have to fight for universal health care, universal college education, and yes, we have to fight for universal daycare also. I recently attended a conference, and what I heard at that conference really, really excited me. In Los Angeles, California, they actually have a program where they are giving women that have small children, women a low economic status that really don't have enough to be able to get by on. They have what they call they are giving women like $500 a month, and it doesn't affect their welfare, public assistance. And this is getting women out of poverty. So, you know, we are all sisters, we are all working together, and we want to make life as good as possible for everybody that we know. And so we just have to keep working very, very hard, all of us together, lifting each other up, pulling up our sisters by the hand, you know, to making sure that everybody will have a better life. And I know that we can do it if we all work together. Oh, the other thing that we have to do, again, to create a just world, is to all of us to have to fight against racism. And I do want to say this because often in our Latino community, we still have colorism, as we call it. And these are things that we want to get rid of, right? And so we have to really celebrate our indigenous roots. And we have to say, you know, when someone says something, when a baby is born and they say, qué bonita la niña, how pretty that baby is, because she's bien güerita, because she's very light skinned. We have to say, no, that baby is very beautiful because she's dark skinned. So we have to celebrate our indigenous roots, you know, celebrate those roots and say, oh, that child is beautiful because that beautiful has darker skin and has darker eyes, you know, and has maybe a little Aztec nose out there, a little Chato nose, you know. So we have to fight individually to make sure that we get rid of those things that are wrong in our society. And of course, we're fighting also to the anti-woke, where they do not want our history as Latinos or people of color to be taught in our school books. They don't want the history of how the United States of America took 50% of Mexico, which became the United States of America. So we have to have that history taught, excuse me, because we want our Latino children to be proud of who they are and where they came from. And the last thing I want to ask all of you, as I said before, please become an activist. Make sure that you know what's going on in your community. Make sure that you know who's running for school board. We cannot get the haters, I call them, okay, the haters that are threatening women because they want the right to abortion. And they want to keep women's studies out of the school books, or gender studies, our history. We cannot let the haters win, which means that we have to be active in our communities. Find out who's running for school board in your community. Maybe some of you should run for school board if you haven't done that. You know, make sure that what is being taught in your schools is actually going to be helpful to our community and uplift our community and not put our community down. So, you know, one of the things that my mother always told me is, when we have life on this earth, which is the gift of life, so when we leave this earth, we want it to be a better place. and educate your families and your children and people that you know, not to always have a materialistic life, because, you know, when you die and you see, or when somebody dies and you see a hearse, you don't see them pulling a U-Haul behind it, okay? Because we know, well, whatever we have on this earth, we can't take it with us, okay? We want to give it away, get rid of it. So we have to all also be the soldiers to fight climate change and to make sure that we can have a better world. So I know your conference is wonderful. You're going to have so much to talk about and thinking about the future. So we are the caretakers of the future, and we are the ones that can make it a better place with women in the lead. Remember, we have the power out there. Let's use our power, get the courage to step out, speak out, and lead. Sí se puede. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Sí se puede. Dolores, thank you so much for that inspiring words. And we've gotten so much messages on the chat. Ileana, would love for you to come on. I would love to take a group picture actually of all of us. We treasure this so much, Dolores. You don't understand.
Thank you, Dolores. And what you just said also reminds me, you know, in the early 80s, they called Latinos the sleeping giant. And first of all, we were not sleeping. We were working hard and contributing and building this country. But second, I actually today still, I call it, we are the, you know, we're the hidden giant. We're right in front of everyone. But, you know, we again need to be in leadership roles in nonprofits and mainstream nonprofits, as well as our own nonprofits in every sector, every field. So we don't want to be the hidden figures anymore, because we're the ones who are doing all the work.
And this is such an inspirational moment, having both of you here to be able to inspire and empower and encourage everybody that's out there listening, that you're right, we're not the hidden giant. And I'm seeing the chat with all those beautiful comments, so that we really believe in ourselves and the impact that we want to create, because we're a resilient culture. I mean, we've gone through a lot, our ancestors have gone through a lot, so we know what it takes to move forward. So it's so encouraging to see you, Dolores, you, Esther, to be here with us and just remind us of that power, because you're right, we're not the hidden giant. We definitely have all the power to move forward.
Yes.
I would like to say one more thing too about Esther, because she is so modest and so humble. But there were times when she had some huge setbacks, things that she created that were not able to be taken away from her. Let's put it that way. But she, you know, she stayed on and she prevailed and she made it all happen. And I think that's one thing we want to say to all the women out there. When we have setbacks, and we have had setbacks, don't quit, okay? Go forward, you know, follow her footsteps, and we'll come out on top, because the only time that we lose is when we quit, all right? That's the only time
I agree. Thank you so much for saying that, because you know what I always said, I'm not going to let somebody else define my worth, my value, my contributions. I'm going to define that. And so you persevere, you move ahead. And there's just been, that's what I've been so privileged to work in 4 different sectors and really in each one leave a tremendous legacy. And guess what? I'm only getting started, and we're all just getting started. You know, we all have such contributions we're making on this planet. So imagine together, we're unstoppable. Watch out. Latinas are unstoppable. Yes. Las dos manos para arriba.
Thank you. We have the power, okay? We have the power.
Who's got the power?
Woo.
Latinas have got the
Latinas.
power. Thank you so much, Dolores. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Esther, for your incredible words and your incredible opening to get us kicked off in this wonderful day of just owning who we are, owning our drive, owning our passion, our purpose, our resiliency, our heritage, and just owning what we stand for so that we don't forget. Thank you so much to both of you. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome. Have a great conference. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Talk about feeling blessed and just being